Shocking, I know, there's another Stephen King adaptation. Dude just raking in some serious dough this year with all these different adaptations. It's pretty much declared by now that this is the year of Stephen King. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the last one, though. The one I'm talking about today, obviously, is 1922. I hadn't heard of this one previously. I mean, I read a lot of Stephen King books, but I don't read them all. Some do slip through the cracks. But yeah, I'm just going to talk about the movie, so let's get on to that. The plot's not really that complicated. Pretty much, Thomas Jane's wife wants to sell her part of the land to a slaughterhouse that's nearby, and her doing that would cause all of Thomas Jane's land to not be farmable anymore due to the slaughterhouse coming in. So he would have to sell his land too, and he doesn't want to do that. So he conspires with his son, and they kill her and just, cover up everything and throw her body down a well. So yeah, that's a rational thing to do, I guess. 1922 definitely has some horror elements because, Stephen King. But I wouldn't really call this like a horror movie. It's kind of really, for the most part, a drama with some supernatural elements sprinkled in. I guess like a supernatural drama is a thing. But it's not really like that scary. Like a lot of the scares is through tension and also rats. There's a lot of rats. Pretty much if you don't like rats, you're not going to like this film. Pretty much see the rats consistently in some form after the wife dies because they're like covering her in the well. And like after that, you just see them everywhere because they're like scurrying around the house. They're like hiding in closets. They're in the walls. I mean, I felt like I was watching a Graveyard Shift again, another Stephen King movie, by the way. If you haven't watch that as well. There's a lot of rats in it. What's great about in this, like in many other Stephen King adaptations, is the fact that there's so much tension built throughout the runtime of this film. Because, I mean, there's, after they kill her, obviously, they gotta, hide everything and scrub everything down and make it look like she disappeared and they just didn't murder her and throw her down the well. And, like, they're intricate about it. The police come, so they gotta make sure they don't, like, find the body or they don't find anything. So there's that whole tension, like, are they gonna get caught? Are they not gonna get caught? And then there's, like, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but then, after a while, supernatural elements start happening to Thomas Jane. And it gets a little weird, but it is a Stephen King movie, so I'm used to it. I will say, though, the end result to all the tension building with Thomas Jane's character is definitely worth it. So I will just say that I did enjoy that part, although it was creepy. Talking more about Thomas Jane, he gives a really great performance in this movie. I mean, he does a really good job with his, like, slow descent into madness, with all the different circumstances. And you believe him for the most... I believed him. I don't feel bad for him, and throughout the movie, because he's a horrible person. But you don't feel bad for him because he's given like a really great performance, and he's really self-centered, and I like that. I like Thomas Jane. It's not really a pro or con, but I thought it was really funny hearing Thomas Jane with like a Nebraska accent because it's really weird. But yeah, off topic. I just wanted to point that out. There's also a lot less of the Stephen King tropes that everybody makes fun of in this movie because there's not really any drunks. I mean, they get her drunk, but that's it. And it's not set in Maine. It's set in Nebraska. So yay for no stereotypes. Well, there's probably some stereotypes, but most of the stereotypes. If I really had any complaints with this movie, it would kind of just be that it kind of drags in some parts. Some parts there's not really too much going on. And it builds tension. It's one of those slow burn kind of movies, but sometimes it's kind of just boring to watch because nothing really happens. And some of the other performances, other than Thomas Jane, are a little weak. There's not very many people in the cast, though, but like some of the other performances aren't really that great. So there is that. It's only a couple of minor complaints, though. Cinematography, though, that was another thing I forgot to mention. That is also really good. I liked all the different shots they had of all the different cornfield, the corn maze, whatever you call it. All of those. But anyways, moving on to my rating for the film, I'd have to give 1922 a B+. I definitely think that Gerald's Game is the more superior Netflix Stephen King film adaptation. But 1922 is still a really good film. And if you really like slow burns, slow burn kind of films with a little bit of horror sprinkled in, some good drama, in like a Western kind of setting, because it is kind of like Western. That's what reminded me of anyway. Definitely check this one out. Anyway, that was my review for 1922. Feel free to leave a like, comment, hit that subscribe button. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.